Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single-barrel-only liquor store. This store is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Get signed up for their email distribution list to find out when the store will be opening, what their hours will be, and most importantly, what they will have in inventory at abvbarrelshop.com. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebartogo.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we discuss the bourbon journey of Susie Cousins. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Miss Beka Sue, along with our special guests, Turner Wathen, Tim Swaya, and Susie Cousins.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Yes, today we're going to be talking to Susie Cousins, and she's going to have to tell us a full story by herself about herself this entire time.
It's my nightmare. It's a literal nightmare.
It's going to be just a whole. She's reading her bourbon journal to us the entire time. But before Susie reads her monologue off, Turner said that he has got something very, very important that he wanted to ask us about.
So I am very excited about the Becky Zykan and Royce Neely and Nate partnership where they are going to roll something awesome out, collaborative out. Could you ever see in the future, which I think should be done, a big brand just partnering with craft distillers to come up with something that might not be able to ever be readily available across all shelves, but is just awesome? Because craft does make awesome things, and big brand also does make awesome things, but we all have to play towards different expectations. Could there ever, instead of an acquisition, could there ever just be a partnership where things come together and they're like, yeah, we want to support those guys and those guys make something awesome and we're all going to do that together?
I think it could happen. I feel like if any industry is collaborative, it's the bourbon industry, and everybody kind of celebrates each other's accomplishments and is sort of cheerleaders for each other. And I think because everybody puts out such a different product, and it's not like you're competing for the one market. Everybody is a collector and everybody wants to have different things. So I think it would totally work. I think you have something here, Turner, and I think it should happen.
I think it would take, obviously, the right brands.
Yeah.
Is the biggest thing, is the right brands. Because some of these big guys would absolutely not do that. But there's other ones that I think definitely would do that with the right craft distiller, or distillery or master distiller or whatever. But I think it just take the right people to do that. What do you guys think?
I think I'm with you. What I'd be interested to see is a Kentucky brand with a California brand. I think you may see it in the blending aspect of things. Different projects coming along with that, because the blending space is trending for a trendy topic, an ABV Network movie, by the way, if anybody doesn't know about that one. So you've got that. But no, I think you've seen, well, you got Beam Suntory already doing it with Legend between the distiller and Suntory, and you see Fred No doing that. So you got a different take on how a product is made and across learning. I think it'd be interesting to see what some of these large brands do if they can't open up a small craft distillery inside of a large brand for experimentation. Do they partner up with some of these brands that are popping up all across the country on the blending side of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It'd be
I'm with
interesting.
you. And like this Sweetens Cove, the Tennessee, it's Tennessee and Kentucky together. I agree. I think it would be easier to do on the blending side than distillers distilling together, or what are collaborating together. I agree. I think blending is where you might see that collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine seeing a Kentucky, a Colorado single malt, hickory smoke Colorado single malt, and a Kentucky bourbon blended together? It'd be interesting to see what some of those flavor combinations can be, because that's where it's going, right? All these different stuff, and I think you're seeing some of those folks are doing it, like with barrel. You got 3-chord that are just grabbing barrels from everywhere and blending to something. So we're already seeing it. It's just a matter of, do you have more of the large national brands take care of that? That'd be interesting.
I know we're talking about this later, but has anybody ever blended distillate rather than blended a finished product? And like, if you took a smaller distillery that uses like a certain grain or like a 4-grain or something like that, and blended it with a column still type, less charactered distillate. I don't know if anybody does.
I've only done it on the rum side because we want to be that area where we blend distillate with and then re-age it and just continue to let it sit and see what happens. I asked the question, so it's my audience to be like, hey, yeah, you guys all gave the right fucking answer. I hope that Kentucky producers that are on a large scale can reduce their need to acquisition and just work towards some sort of community, because I don't think that requires Jackie to leave Brown-Forman.
Yeah.
Right.
And now Brown-Forman's a company that requires, checks and balances and all the accounting work that companies require. But I would love to see in the next 5 years more collaborations that involve outside brands into one product entity that make things interesting. And
you bring up another point on that one. It's like, okay, so which of the big brands is going to be the Kodak of the bourbon industry? Which of the bourbon brands is going to be the one that's innovated out? That's a whole nother topic that you're kind of stretching down. I just didn't even think about it, because you had Leopold Brothers and I would say Dickel, but you had that whole collaboration go and things like that. You're starting to see it in other places. To your point,
Keep going. I'm sorry. Yes, I want more of those collaborations.
So with that, let's all drink. What's everyone got tonight? Let's start with Tim.
I have a very well-loved bottle of they acquired brand recently by Heaven Hill, a Widow Jane Decadence. Nothing.
Susie, what do you got tonight?
I have an Old Forester single barrel strength pick.
Nice.
It's pretty new, so let's see if it has a good. Nah.
Where the fuck is your microphone? Where?
It's right here.
Was it bad? It was better than Tim's.
Way better than Tim's.
Let's go with McNew.
I have the Sweetens Cove, Tennessee.
I think Susie still has it. I'll go next. I've got a brand new one once again, because this is from the ABV Barrel Shop in Arnold, Missouri. Single barrels only, all selected by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. All right, let me get this opened up. This is the Legends pick for Rick Brenner. He picked this one out. It is delicious. It is Old Monroe from Stumpy Spirits. Let's give it a shot. Maybe.
Ooh, it's a tight one. Oh.
3 for 3, Beka.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did I still have Turner to go?
Don't bother.
15, I'm going to position it next to what I think might be a microphone. Who knows? Fuck my life.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Once again, I win. This has not been intentional, but I do have all new bottles. So, sorry guys, but this is just how the night will be going.
All new bottles from the St. Louis ABV shop. So
where they pressurize them.
Checks out. Yeah, they're actually special bottles, especially for the cork pop. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right, when we get back, we are going to listen to Susie just talk about herself for about 15 minutes on mute. It should be quite exhilarating, I have no doubt.
Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot in the greater St. Louis area. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only focuses on single barrels. We aren't open just yet, but our plan is to have the most diverse single barrel offerings from our many friends in the world of bourbon. By signing up for a weekly email, you will know our entire inventory we have on hand. In addition to single barrels, we'll have a tasting bar and a gift shop featuring logo merchandise for both the shop and the ABV network, as well as a full curriculum of bourbon education classes. Additionally, we'll use the gift shop to feature products from our partners in the world of bourbon, companies like Art Eatable Chocolates and Old Man Bay Signs. Head over to ABV Barrel Shop to sign up for our email and text distribution list so you can stay in the know. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent visits to Kentucky. Today, he's leading the way for young distillers making their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery combines family history, a look at what makes their products unique, and of course, a tasting through their whiskeys, moonshines, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com and visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is Danny Kennard, which is turning into Freddie Mills. Y'all have a good...
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we have Susie Cousins' Bourbon Journey.
Yes, Susie. So you can start your monologue at any moment. Will everyone hit your mute buttons and we'll...
I think I've literally had this nightmare. Like, I will talk to people all day. I will sing anything, but if you ask me to just do like public speaking, forget it. I will be on the floor.
So mute. Let's see here. No, Susie, don't worry.
Am I on mute now? Okay, good. Go ahead.
We're going to be asking you questions just
okay,
to learn about.
Fucking mute, Tim. Tim, fucking mute.
We want to learn about why you've gotten to this point in your bourbon journey of hanging out here with all of us. And I'm very sorry that this is where it's gotten you. So I want to know where the downfall in your bourbon journey is.
The downfall of your life.
There's always the rise and then the fall, and apparently you're at the fall.
Rock bottom right now.
My favorite question is: do you remember the first bourbon that you had that made you realize that you liked bourbon? And if so, what was it, and who gave it to you, or where did you get it at? And why were you all like? Was it an inspiring moment for you, or was it just an easy moment for you?
Well, I think for many, well, first I'll back up and say I wasn't one of those people that drank a lot of like whiskey in college and then suddenly couldn't like drink it for years. I went to college in San Antonio, and so I was drinking tequila mostly. And so I didn't even really know about the whiskey world until I was a lot older. And I have a really good friend who I used to we'd go to a bar on Tuesday nights before we had band practice, and I would always just kind of get whatever whiskey and Coke there was, because one time I got tired of drinking gin and tonics, which was my go-to for a lot of years. And so I switched to just whatever the well was and Coke, and I didn't really think much about it. And then one day she said, why don't you try something a little better than the well, and why don't you try it without anything in it? And I thought, well, that sounds like a terrible idea, but I did it anyway. So it was just Makers. It was regular Makers. And I just kind of took a little sip of it without anything in it, and it burned pretty bad at first. And then by the end of the glass, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going back. I think I like it like this. So that was my entry.
Turner, you have a question, or you're waving? We're not sure.
He's raising his hand for the audience.
All the questions. Susie,
Yes.
if you don't have a lot of money, but you can drink something neat,
Yes.
what's just like your just average go-to?
Okay. My favorite, I wouldn't call it bargain, but less expensive bourbon is Early Times Bottled in Bond.
Man,
That's solid. That's a good one.
Love it. I love it. And I can't usually get it here. So anytime I'm somewhere where I can get it, I will buy 3 or 4 bottles, because it's like
okay.
$25.
Stop there. We're done. If you can buy something not super exclusive, not like crazy, but just like, just the next level. Like, it's like finding like, hey, I can buy 4 Roses single batch OESK for like $25. Like, what's the shot that you're willing to spend $30 to $35 on, or 40 bucks?
40
What will you? Anything
on a shot.
goes.
On a shot?
Goes. Anything goes.
Not a bottle.
Not a bottle.
Okay. Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think what I could even get here.
No. Don't include
Okay.
price.
Okay.
Just go with your heart. Just no price.
Okay. I mean, usually you kind of hit it on the head there with the 4 Roses single barrel. That's like a named recipe.
Right?
I do like an OESK. If I can find one of those.
I am also.
Yeah.
So I'm done questioning. I'm done.
Or also, well, can I go down a little bit in price and say that I'm never going to turn down any sort of Russell's single barrel pick ever. They're all amazing to me.
Well, now that Turner ran out of his questions, McNew, what kind of questions do you have for Susie about her bourbon journey?
Her bourbon journey. So, most bourbon drinkers, we like it neat, sometimes on the rocks. Do you have a go-to bourbon cocktail?
It depends on the time of year, but lately right now it's a julep, because I'm growing mint right outside. And so I just go and like pick some mint and just make a quick simple syrup and throw those together. And I think they're amazing, and like
they're refreshing. They're fun. I love them at julep. Even up here, like I'm close enough to Kentucky where we're like, oh, it's for the Derby. No, those are for all summer. This is
all the time. Yeah. And then just for the rest of the year, just an old fashioned with no cherries.
No cherries.
Even as a garnish?
No, I don't like it at all.
Nothing in it.
Nothing. Okay. I like the orange. I like you twist the orange and throw it in there, but no.
Smoked or not smoked?
Oh, I like either way. I like smoked more in the winter.
Yeah.
And then not smoked in the summer.
What do you think is the worst bourbon cocktail that exists?
Oh, I think that would be any bourbon with Mountain Dew.
That's Turner's favorite, though. That's Turner's favorite.
I don't know what the name of it is, but that sounds pretty bad.
That's
Turner's
favorite.
Go-Go Juice.
We call that the rolling fork.
The long book hot trash. Love it.
Yeah, weirdly, anything with soda in it, I don't really love that, and it's how I started, but now I don't love it.
And also, what is your vendetta with Mountain Dew?
It's an unnatural color. Like, it is the color of like toxic waste. So I cannot abide that.
There's nothing natural about any of their colors.
It's
Like,
the color of a lightning bug.
yeah,
It's
they could
incredibly natural.
come out with a Mountain Dew that said natural color Mountain Dew.
It's the color of a glow stick if you break it
A
open.
lightning bug. Tim, what kind of questions you have?
Japan movies that you watched when you were a kid? Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
So, Susie, we all have that point where we've usually consumed a little too much. Did you have any stories or anything that we said, you know what, I'm going to switch from bourbon whiskey into something else? Did you have any experiences after you started drinking? You're like, yeah, I got to take a break from this for a while.
You mean for like a period of time or for the night?
Well, dealer's choice.
I really haven't. I really haven't felt like. I really haven't felt that way. I gotta say, I don't know why, but there was a period of time where before I drank bourbon, I drank wine just because I'm a basic girl, and that was what people were drinking when I was 30, I guess.
Basic girl, because
Yeah.
I love wine.
Yeah, and the thing about wine was that you don't want to leave the bottle open too long.
You don't?
So you gotta either finish it, in a night or two.
That's why you get boxed wine.
But with bourbon, there's no pressure for me to ever like finish the bottle because it's going to go bad. So I don't know. I think okay. So I gotta say, I'm 45 years old, and I will just say, with age comes like, when you feel like shit, and I don't want to feel that way.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Was that message right there?
I've learned with just wisdom and experience where to gauge where I am and not to go too far. The only time in the past few years that I have gone too far was a New Year's Eve where a friend in quotes of mine was refilling my glass without me knowing it, and so I didn't know how much I had, and that was one of those nights where things were spinning and I did not enjoy myself, and that reminded me how much I don't enjoy being there, and so
there you go.
So that's not your friend.
Not my friend.
No.
I'm gonna just say that that's
friend.
not your friend.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Beka Sue, I got one more if you don't mind.
No, absolutely.
So this one's more on the bourbon lifestyle. So I think all of us have that phase where there's truly a bourbon lifestyle where I'll sneak some type of barrel accessory on a keychain, on a ring, a piece of jewelry. I'll sneak my bourbon socks in their work every now and then, and people kind of let loose in the professional environment. How has the bourbon lifestyle attracted you to what you do on a day-to-day basis, personally and professionally?
Oh gosh. Okay, so merchandise wise, I'm standing right by my t-shirt drawer, which has more bourbon shirts than anything else in the drawer. I think you're either like a concert t-shirt type of person, or in my case, I'm a bourbon t-shirt kind of person. So anytime I go to a distillery, that's always like my gift shop thing, is like I have to get a t-shirt, and they're just kind of what I wear all the time. I have a hat from Neely, and I do love a trucker hat. So I have like a Willet hat, a Neely hat. I have a 3-cord hat, something else, and then I have some earrings that have oh my gosh, the glass. Glencairns on them.
Glencairns, yeah.
I promise I haven't had that much tonight. And so I do love some bourbon merch. And I have some bourbon Sasquatch sunglasses because I thought that was super cool. So I have some of those from the ABV Network store, where you can find all sorts of things.
I love it.
But then I don't like, does that answer the question, or am I missing part of it?
No, you're doing just fine.
Okay.
My next question was going to be, I feel like, and I don't, maybe not everyone is like this, but I do feel like a lot of people have a bourbon person that helped them grow into their bourbon journey. Usually like there's a close friend of theirs, maybe a family member, like their dad drank bourbon, or their mom, grandfather, or like they had a good friend who's just really into whiskey that they met maybe later on. Who is your bourbon person? I've got two bourbon people that brought me into it a lot. I want to know who your bourbon people were that dove you deeper into the world.
Well, the first one that I used to go drink at the bar with that recommended that I switched from not drinking it with cola was my good friend Marissa, and we are still best friends and drink bourbons together and like to try lots of new things. But then I met another person who kind of, I think, furthered my journey in single barrels, which I really didn't know that much about before he and I started talking. And it was actually a friend from church. And he knew that I was into bourbon. And so he would like invite us over and say, okay, try, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And then we actually ended up in a club together, and I did my first barrel pick with him and have met. And I love that I have met like so many other people through him and through that. So it's just like, it kind of became a web where then it was like, oh, well, this person knows a ton about this distillery. This person knows a ton about this distillery, or, this person actually works at this store and they can get all these cool things to try. And so it went from like 1 to like 2 to 3 to like, 100 people that are, kind of help you along the way, learn new things, which I think is really cool.
Fantastic. Anyone else have any more questions? Turner obviously doesn't. Turner has
left the building.
Turner is invisible now. But with all,
I do have one more for him to throw at you. So we all love our pilgrimage to Kentucky.
Yeah.
What was your first distillery tour, and do you have any big memories from that really made it stand out?
My first distillery tour was Woodford. And of course, it's very beautiful and well done, and you get to ride the shuttle and all of that. And
the rocking chairs on the porch, the whole thing.
And it's just gorgeous, and beautiful tasting room and all of that. But what made it stick out was our tour guide. His name was JP. I think he's still there, and he was so funny without meaning to be funny, and just sort of made everything really accessible to those of us that were a little bit like, it was, when you go on a distillery tour, you kind of always get the same, like, here's how bourbon is made speech. But when it's your first time, like, and I like to be a good student, I was really trying to like get it down and learn it. And so he was really funny, but at the same time, didn't mind that like I had 100 follow-up questions about things and would answer everything and not make me feel stupid, which I will say is something that I think women in the industry or getting into this struggle with a lot is, and I'm not going to say it's mansplaining, but it is like feeling like we don't understand it as well, and that we're dumb about it because we're women. Which is just, it's not true, but it's something that like I carry around with me sometimes. And so I always feel like I need to know twice as much as a guy so that I can feel like I'm on equal footing. So it really helped that he was a guy that was like, no, I'll break it down for you. Do you want to see this? Do you want like, here, let's pull this out and look at this. So shout out to JP. He was great.
Love it. All right. So I think that now we go into the monologue. It's actually supposed to be a haiku with a poem, a few different ones. I hope that's been prepared.
I can do you some song lyrics instead. That's the only thing I can do.
Yeah, if anyone.
One more question then.
Yeah.
Susie, you do the music for Stephen Bowes at Bourbon Sasquatch Productions. What's that like? Like, what is? They're beautiful songs that you write and sing. Like, what's your process for creating all these songs?
I do not know. It is wild. I will tell you, like, how I got into that was I was literally in Kentucky. I had done my Stave and Thief executive bourbon class that day, and a friend and I that had done it together went out and celebrated maybe a little too much that night. And then the next morning, like really early, I got this text like this long from Steve, and it was talking about how he wanted to do this documentary, and he knew I do music and would I write music for this. And I was looking at it, I was like hungover and trying to like even read the words. And then I leaned over, was like, Steve wants me to write is music for this documentary? I think I'm going to say yes. I've never done anything like this before, but I mean, if it sucks, and we'll just put something else in it. So I said yes, and then I freaked out and panicked for a while. And then I kind of went, you know what, I have a degree in this. I do like writing music. I think I can figure this out. And so I just kind of started researching the distilleries, because that was for Kindred Spirits. So there were 7 different distilleries represented in that one. And I thought the way to go about it was like, let me find something nerdy that I can put in there about each one. And so I sort of would take maybe a folk song or something that I felt like represented that distillery and weave it into the music for that one over like a bass that was cohesive. And so that's how that one came about. And then for the blending movie, a lot of it sort of kept going back to like Prohibition and things like that. So I tried to add, that kind of flavor into that one. It just depends on the movie. I haven't seen anything of the one that's coming up about Colorado whiskeys. So I'm sort of waiting for them to like, please send me footage and send me information and stuff, because I really can't do anything until I know a little bit more about what the subject matter is. So this one, the other 2 that I did, we just wrote the music and then fit it into the, oh, look at that. I love your barrel head. That's
Like a barrel head. There's your one right here, the signature right here.
Okay.
Arlo Eckstein. Letting Sun sign there.
Oh, I love
Arlo's
it.
a superhero in my mind. I know what I have here. Arlo's got to get in that song somehow.
Okay. I'll work it in. We'll talk. But the other 2 movies we did, like I just sent them a bunch of music and then they kind of wove it in. But this time I'm going to try it where it's like you score it to the film. So they're going to finish the movie, send it to me, and then I'm going to write the score to fit that. So that's a different way to stretch. So that may have been way too long for that question. But
No, it was
Not at all.
the best answer. Yep.
That's fantastic. Well, I think that is the completion of your bourbon journey,
thank
Susie.
you. Okay.
That's all the grilling and all the information, all the interviewing that we have for you. And so that being said, Susie, where can we find you at?
I am on Facebook at Susie Cousins and on Instagram at Sounds Like Bourbon. And I do have an EP out called Sounds Like Bourbon that's songs about whiskey. And I have a second half of that coming out in probably a month or so.
Oh, exciting. I have the first half downloaded. It's in my...
Oh, thank you.
Turner, where can we find you at? Can't hear Turner. Turner is...
You're on mute.
I know.
There he is.
We're back.
We can
Okay.
hear you, yeah.
Sorry, rollingforkrum.com. Just look up Rolling Fork. We'll be there. It's fine.
It's
You guys
a
Google
fantastic
it.
plug.
Google it, guys.
What a good plug. Tim, where can we find you at?
You could find me in a rocking chair listening to Susie's music, while sipping some Early Times Bottled and Bond, and maybe some Four Roses single barrels. Also on the abvnetwork.com tasting events page and on Instagram at SwyGuy2112.
Fantastic. McNew.
I am on Instagram at McNew ABV.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K no C's. We also have the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the world's only, single barrel only bourbon liquor store. Steve and Jim have been curating a great selection of single barrels from dozens. They have 100 different distillery connections, so they'll have different ones in there all the time. So stop in and see them down in St. Louis. McNew, got anything else to say?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Until next time, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Peace.
Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country, ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's upcoming Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.